Trees tell us important, great stories. They tell us what season it is. They tell us how long they've lived. And trees tell us some very important stories about the environment and the air we breathe every day and will need for generations.
So this is a dendrometer band. It's basically like an elastic belt. Who wouldn't want that? That you put around the tree, and when you originally set it, you set it at 0. Then as the tree grows through the year, it expands. It is sequestering carbon from the atmosphere and changing that into actual biomass.
Ann Wright has been studying trees and the atmosphere for several years as the coordinator of Life Science Education Outreach at VCU's Inger and Walter Rice Center for Environmental Studies and as an assistant professor in biology. Ann's work reveals a fascinating phenomenon. Cars and trees have far more of a symbiotic relationship than most people could have ever imagined. As more and more vehicles hit the road, using up billions of gallons of fossil fuel every day, they are also sending massive amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Extensive research by climate scientists the world over shows that as more and more carbon dioxide is added to the atmosphere, it traps the heat from the sun within the atmosphere, creating a warming effect. Through all the haze, the results of this greenhouse effect are already becoming clear. The largest known contribution comes from the burning of fossil fuels, all those millions of cars, all those factories that release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Trees, which are still in abundance across the earth, are wonderful cleansing agents for carbon dioxide.
It doesn't keep it within the tree per se. There's carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Trees undergo photosynthesis when the leaves are out and they're cranking in the sunlight. And what it does is it actually takes in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and turns that into a simple sugar, and that is incorporated into the biomass of the tree. And so the tree is actually scrubbing, they call it scrubbing carbon from the atmosphere.
This particular tree on the Rice Center grounds has been growing nicely.
So we want to know what number that line is lining up with. Each year we can see how much it's grown, see what a change has been made here in terms of the girth of the tree. Then we put that into an equation and we can actually tell by the poundage how much carbon has been taken out of the atmosphere, and then we can relate that to how much carbon your car emits on a yearly basis. And you can see how many trees you need to have growing at a certain rate to offset the amount of carbon that you're spitting out of your tailpipe of your car. I would say 0.7. 18.7 meters.
18.7.
These students from Charles City County Middle School are getting a first-hand view of this important scientific process and learning the value of keeping as many trees as possible. They don't just look beautiful and serene, they perform a life-saving function for all of us. Scientists who study carbon emissions portray an alarming increase in the amount of carbon dioxide we are now releasing into the atmosphere. As this builds and trees are cut down, our climate will transform. But as the world's population grows, development for housing, roads, and highways leads to massive deforestation. Without our precious trees, that carbon dioxide is released into our atmosphere, trapping the heat and transforming our climate. These trees are telling us an important story. We need more of them, and we need to do more to reduce our use of not just fossil fuels, but all manner of methane and fertilizers, which are also contributing to the greenhouse effect. Electric cars, reducing factory emissions, and on an individual scale, planting gardens that use plants native to the area where you live, like the Bayscapes Garden at the Science Museum of Virginia, can all have an effect.
Bayscaping allows people to use native plants that are evolutionary fit to the environment here. We have about 14 different native species of plants here that do a variety of things. One, they provide habitat for local birds and insects and other organisms. Two, They actually eliminate the use of pesticides and fertilizers and watering. Compare that to a lawn that has grasses. One has to water it, apply pesticides, and also apply fertilizers. They're very hard to kill, and the reason is because they don't need a lot of water. They're fit to this environment. They're used to this climate in the Mid-Atlantic region. That helps you reduce energy uses. And think about this. One of the problems is when people use gasoline-powered lawnmowers, they're burning fuel. That releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which is a heat-trapping gas, which contributes to climate change. By using native plants, you eliminate all that use of energy.
As the trees gather more carbon, they are telling us a very important story. As scientists study these trees and see how much carbon they are absorbing from the atmosphere, it is becoming clear that trees are a vital part of the solution to climate change.
Don't you just love a tree? They're so solid, you know? And people don't really notice trees. They always sort of, yeah, there are trees around and they never think about them, but they're sitting here working for us.
As students learn about carbon sequestration, reading the stories these trees are telling us, they can then understand the importance of seeking solutions to the greenhouse gas phenomena. And in their service learning work, these students are becoming part of the solution.
That's beautiful.